President-elect Trump is talking about taking control rather of the Panama Canal and buying Greenland from Denmark when he goes back to the White House. And that is not going over well with Panama and Greenland. Senior national correspondent Rich Edson with me here in New York. What's the latest on this, Rich?
Yeah, we weren't expecting to have this conversation, or maybe not quite yet. President-elect Trump campaigned on major changes to U.S. foreign policy.
Okay, here we go. Michael, you are there.
I'm here.
You are there. Merry Christmas. We're going to get the Panama Canal, Greenland, and maybe Canada. What do you think?
I love it. I'm all in.
What do you think, eh?
What do you think Greenland, Canada, and Panama Canal think?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure they're all for it.
I like his hyperbole, right? He Canada, the 51st state of the union, obviously is hyperbole, but it's a metaphorical truth, right? It's like, get in line, Canada. They've been kind of leading the way toward Marxism and communism in the North American continent, right? Canada's been kind of out there in the front, letting fascism take over their government, and now the United States down here is like, hold your horses there, Canada. That is not the wave of the future. That is an evil pipe dream that has come to an end. Is Trudeau out? Is Trudeau gone now? Is he?
From what I read, he's in danger. Last I heard. Have you ever listened to the guy that's running against him?
Yes, that guy's amazing.
He is fantastic.
Pierre, what is his last name?
Poivre or something. There's some French.
With
a bunch of vowels and extra letters that the French do.
Yeah, and a pronunciation you would never guess.
Right. Exactly.
So that guy may replace Trudeau. That would be incredible.
It would. So, yeah, no, with Canada, also someone I was listening to said the Canadian border is the longest continuous border in the world between two countries.
Right.
And they don't have much security, and there's no visas required to enter. And so someone said 85% of the problems we're having with immigration are coming from Canada. And there's even on social media, people are saying, hey, don't go through Mexico, go through Canada. It's wide open. Yeah. So we have a lot of trouble with Canadian border, and the Canadians obviously aren't doing anything about it. I don't know how sympathetic this Pierre is to the United States, but he's definitely not a Marxist.
Yeah.
And he's definitely a very effective voice for conservative, as conservative as like California, right? Mm-hmm. Conservative out here does not mean conservative in Florida or Mississippi.
True. Yeah. It is a continuum.
It is, yeah.
Depending on how radically leftist the leftists are in your country, being conservative could mean just slightly to the right of the radical leftists.
Yeah, exactly. So, but and then Greenland, I suppose is for control of the Arctic Circle, I guess. Maybe strategic, like radar kind of defense kind of things.
Strategically, geographically, yeah.
Where Russia is the main competitor up there.
Yeah.
So, whereas in the Panama Canal, it seems to be China is the biggest competitor there. So,
back to that, what we were just talking about the gradation of leftism versus right, or there is hope coming from like Canada is like kind of following in lockstep with what Great Britain, right? Great Britain has gone very, very left, but there is hope. Like even Great Britain they're actually leading the way in making the gender care drugs illegal, right? As far as chemically castrating children, they're making it illegal in England. And it's like, oh, okay, their insanity has kind of run its course, and they're seeing how destructive and how insane that is. So there's hope. I mean, there's still they still have people in prison for social media posts, right? They put people in jail for social media posts. That's insane. Yes.
Well, it's not unlike the Chinese social credit system.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I think we were talking this over Christmas. I think some people in my family were saying that they went to an event up in LA. I don't know if you've encountered this, but when you go, say, to a Clipper game, I think it was a Clipper game, and they went to get something to eat, and they pick up their food, and the little kiosk thing says, just leave. And then so they leave with the food without paying. And then 5 minutes later, it's on my nephew's credit card. So there's something to do with facial recognition and recognize. Right. You came in, you registered, whatever. So now anything you do is on your credit card. Oh, how convenient. Michael, what could go wrong?
You hit on the word, right? Convenience is what technology, right, is. I mean, it's all about things becoming more convenient. But that's an instrumental good and not an intrinsic good, right? Convenience is something.
Hold on. Let me unpack that. It's an instrumental good, not an intrinsic good. In that, for convenience sake, right? Yeah. For something to be convenient, it's instrumental. It's helpful to me, not necessarily intrinsically. Intrinsic. I've never heard that before. I'm going to steal that.
Right. Well, yeah. It's like, is there such a thing as absolute good, right, and evil, right? Is there something that's intrinsically good, like existence is an intrinsic good, right? Existing is intrinsically good,
right?
It's better than non-existence by virtue of what it is, right? But like a hammer has instrumental value, but when you use it for non-hammer uses, it can also have an instrumental evil, right? I mean, you can use a hammer, to prop open a window, and that's a good. It's not what it's for, but a hammer's not meant for that.
No, you're expanding on the old Jurassic Park line. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should, right?
Right. Yeah. So when we're talking about technology, in that facial recognition, he didn't have to swipe his card. He didn't have to enter a number. He didn't have to scan a chip or anything. Right. It just saw his face and recognized him and charged his card.
Yeah.
Right. And so that can be freaky to people. But is that a bad thing? Right. It can freak people out, but is it bad? Is it good? Or does it just have instrumental value?
Yeah, that's worth a whole podcast right there. We should do it next. When am I on with you next? First Wednesday of January, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's our topic.
You remind Gina when she asks what's the topic. Remind her of that.
We kind of abused Gina this morning. We didn't give her a topic, and she didn't know what to do. So I finally found this, and I kind of threw it at her.
Thank you.
Sure. So, anyways, going back to off that tangent. So we're talking about Canada. Hopefully England and Europe are getting it. I'm not. It's going to be a while. It's going to be another 80 to 100 year process.
Yeah, it's
to get. And again, I think maybe in Europe there would have to first be some kind of revival, because these laws they do, these crazy things they do, it's filling a void that the spirituality of Europe just emptied out after World War II. It probably was doing it, hemorrhaging greatly after World War I, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had to fill it with something. So obviously you fill it with this quasi-Marxist kind of worldview that, man can be perfected, society can be perfected. We can engineer through government and through laws, through regulations, we can engineer a perfect society where everyone's fulfilled and everyone's equal and everyone, whatever. And then it goes down these crazy, evil, intrinsically evil paths. And there's nothing to say that idea of castrating children will be replaced by something better. You see what I'm saying? So with Canada, I think Canada.
I can't imagine anything worse, though.
Oh, you can't. But could you imagine that 30 years ago?
Right.
Would anybody, if anybody told you 30 years ago, in 30 years they're going to be.
Is there a bottom to the slippery slope? Is what you're saying?
Because there's no way. You're a little younger than I am, but my crowd, there's no way. Come on, that's not going to happen. Castrating, that's crazy.
That you
That's
could
so-
get deleted from social media for insisting that there's only 2 genders, right? That
Yes.
insanity.
That
You
insanity.
could be kicked out of your job for insisting there are only 2 genders. Like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that was like, you're crazy. That'll never happen. Yeah, right.
But even marriage being anything other than what it's traditionally been, my parents said, "Oh, come on, that would never happen." People wouldn't put up with that. Well, guess what? They put up with it, and now they're all for it. So,
But it's reversing. It's reversing. It's
wow,
going
you
away.
think so?
Oh
Like
yeah.
I said, all right. From
Look,
your
Disney canceled. They edited out some transgender characters out of some TV shows already. They've canceled some of those shows. Like Disney itself, right? They're seeing the writing on the wall. My job, where I work, which we won't disclose, I saw a shift from November 5th. I've cut 2 or 3 pro-Trump, not like rah rah, we love Trump, but not negative anywhere in the piece.
you edited,
pieces.
in other words.
I've edited, right? Like
Yeah. Okay. You said cut. I cut for us non.
Yes, that's the vernacular. We're editors. We cut.
Because you used to cut the videotape and tape it together, right?
Yes, yeah, right. So there's no actual blades involved. It's safe now. But some of the subject matter, I could tell instant, like, wait a minute. I know it probably pained this writer to write this script without ripping into Trump at all, but it happened and it's happening. And so the shift is real. They're recognizing, oh wait, he didn't just win the election, he won the majority. Like, it is now a majority. MAGA, that's been cast as these crazies, MAGA is the base of the nation. We want America to be great, right? Make America great again is happening. And it's the popular vote, the overwhelming popular vote, which shocked the media structure. They're realizing, oh, we've been catering to a fringe radical, the fringe radical voices of perverse sexual activity and behavior. It's like, why would you do that? Why would you want your children to be exposed to that? And so there's this actual shift happening, and I think we're in for a morality reformation. I think it's coming,
and we'll see how far it goes. Mitch is,
yeah.
Chloe says, a few decades ago, I pondered, how can society possibly be like Sodom and Gomorrah? Not in my lifetime. I could not imagine, but here we are. Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly, Chloe. And Mitch had something. Global populations have sadly become a laboratory for bad ideas, something as old as history itself. All this technology has been abused by forcing reliance on it. And that's what I was, again, I guess, okay, we'll wrap up the Panama Canal and Greenland or whatever. But yeah, and the fact that it is being forced on you, my comment when people brought this up, Chris was like, so the idea of you not having your cell phone on you, oh, I left my cell phone at home, is completely unacceptable now. You will have this cell phone or you cannot live life. And someone said, yeah, it's like a wallet. You have to have your wallet.
The notion. Sorry, continue.
Oh no, I was just saying. No, but somebody would have to actually be adept at being a pickpocket to get my wallet, right?
Right.
But now they could just, and in Canada, this is what they did. I saw, but back to Canada, when you talk about how Canada is going full Marxist, someone said, yeah, Lucas, Trudeau's gone full dictator. There was a story where a small town in Canada was being forced to fly a certain multicolored flag, right, on a certain day. And they said, no, we first of all, we don't have a flagpole. And second of all, we wouldn't fly anybody's flag. We don't do that. We don't fly flags on certain days because it's just a mess, right? We don't want to get into this. The group that was forcing them to do that complained to some Canadian government agency, and the agency went in and took $10,000 out of the mayor's account, and I think another certain amount of money out of the city's account. And they're like, and the group that was forcing this says, hey, we'll bankrupt them. We'll get them to do what we want to do, or we'll bankrupt them.
The power of the purse.
It is power of the purse, but like I said, would have to come at me with a gun before to get my money, right? or some other, you had first a court order and second, and then eventually you have to come out with a gun. Now they can just, a couple keystrokes, you're bankrupt. So it's a little bit more.
Yeah,
but that's how dictatorships and authoritarian governments will do it, and we will. So it's a little more than just,
This administration has not this administration, the new administration is opposed to, I don't know what the terminology is, but the a federal crypto, converting our Federal Reserve to crypto,
right.
like a coin base, and that's because of that, right? You don't want some person to come into the federal government power and wield that the wrong way, and so we shouldn't do that. Crypto is fine, but not having your government funding and your all of that tied to it that's not.
Well, even your and that has freedom. So say you and I go out to lunch and I pay cash. I don't have my cell phone and I pay cash. No one knows that I went out to lunch with you, other than maybe we're on video in the restaurant. Okay. But there is no government does not know that I had lunch with the radical Michael Gavlak, who is a crazy right-wing anti-government wingnut, right? Therefore,
don't subclip that and get it out there, please, what he just said.
So, but see, there you go. This is. And right. Yeah, is it an intrinsic good, or is it an intrinsic there? It's a brave new world we're heading into.
Right. And that word it's instrumental.
We're not heading into it. We're in.
Technology, I argue, is not an instrumental good or evil. So it's not evil. Technology is not evil in and of itself. Neither is it good in and of itself. It is instrumental depending on the user, right? Like the car that killed people, right? The car that drove into the Christmas thing, a car killed 2 people. It's like, no, a car did not kill those people. Right. There was somebody operating it, right? It's like when it's a right wing with a radical doing something, it's always the person and the ideology that did it. But when it's left wing, right, it's like this car somehow ran over these people. The way the media reports it. All right, but
hey, there's enough technology in cars that's possible someone could take control of your car. Who knows?
It was still somebody controlling it, though. Right? It wasn't the technology.
It wasn't the car.
Itself.
Yeah, you're right.
It wasn't the technology itself. Yeah. And actually, I wanted to get back to, was it Mitch's point, or was it somebody was? It was Mitch. The forcing reliance, right? The forced reliance on technology. So, I want to push back slightly at the notion of forced reliance. We are not individuals. We are a mass, right? The human species is a herd, right? We're an organism that is interdependent. We are not independent. That's the difference between being a bag of marbles and leaves on a tree. As humans, you're not designed to be alone, and you can't act alone, because everything you do affects multiple other people. So there's interdependence. Technology, when it has advantages, we adapt to them. Like, are you forced to rely upon your motor vehicle? You rely on it, and but you are not forced to. We're forced to rely on that mode of transportation if we want to thrive, or if we want to do certain things, but you're not forced to, but it's in your best interest to do it. And so in mass, we gravitate toward technologies that make our lives more convenient, getting back to that, but it also includes the evil that comes along with it, right? Is it better not to have cars at all because some cars kill people and some cars are used to traffic fentanyl or human bodies, etc., right? Is it better not to have any cars at all because they do those bad things? No, we've decided it's worth having cars even though they do those bad things. And that's where technology, that's the same argument with every new technology, with AI and with everything that's introduced, and crypto, AI. Have you heard of graphene? Joel, did you freeze? All right, comment in the comment section. Joel froze up, and I don't know when he froze up. Did I freeze or did Joel freeze? Somebody say hi in the comment section if you hear me. Okay, it was Joel. He disappeared. He'll be back. Yeah, he lost connection. Joel froze. Okay, I see you. Thank you, Chloe. Thank you. Yeah, and Lucas and Chloe and AC and Carrie. All right. Well, I'm good. All right. You can hear me. I've got 10 minutes when Joel pops back in here. If he pops back in here, we'll continue the conversation. So I have been wrong about technology in the past where I remember saying, oh, we'll never be able to do this. We'll never be able to do that. I'm like, that's beyond the realm of possibility. And I still think there are things that are beyond the realm of possibility, but there are many things that I thought would be impossible that are commonplace. This being one, right? This is an example. I remember we'll never be able to see everybody and talk and interact over a screen. We'll never be able to see somebody's face that's on the other side of the world and talk instantaneously with them. I was young and foolish then, but that was a thought. Star Trek was ahead of its time. When you watch Star Trek, a weekly, the writers are, racking their brains and let's come up with something. These communicator devices, like you can flip this thing open and be able to talk to somebody remotely, no matter where they are, right? And then the flip phone became the smartphone, right? And so Star Trek was ahead of their time in that regard. But there is something that Star Trek did that I still don't think will ever be possible, and that's the transporter beam, right? Taking Chloe, taking so it might be possible for inanimate objects, right? It might be possible. I haven't researched the advances of the technology. It might be possible to disassemble something and remotely by Wi-Fi or reassemble it somewhere else. I don't know the physics of that, but certainly not a living organism. All right, Joel's coming back. He popped in. Joel's coming. But you couldn't disassemble a living organism and reassemble it.
All right.
Welcome back, Joel.
Thanks. Internet went out. Not sure what happened there, but
that happened to me the other day. I had a quick power outage and it shut everything down.
Really? Okay. Like I said, hey, what were we just talking about, huh? I was being a little too eloquent in
Somebody
stating
didn't
my
like what you
case for freedom and the use of technology to subvert that.
And lo and behold, they shut you down before you could finish.
The interwebs were watching and they shut me down. So.
The word coincidence, it's a nonsensical word. Right. Coincidence is a nonsensical word, but that doesn't mean that when things happen in a timely, seemingly coincidental fashion, that it's human, right? That it's like somebody watching or somebody actively doing something. God is actually always actively watching and doing everything. And so sometimes we may attribute things to, we may think, well, that couldn't have just been a coincidence. There must be some nefarious thing behind it. We tend to go in that direction. We tend to have that conspiratorial side to us, but it's not always. It's like sometimes it's God doing it, and
it is. But also now that's feasible. Before that,
right.
It was less feasible before. We haven't even gotten into AI. And what that's going to be, because there is someone watching now. There's someone listening to everything and everybody. Yeah. I have a family member who just cannot, every other word out of his mouth is the government is this and the government is that and the government is this. And I'm like, you know what? If you disappear,
the government
is, or it's another government program. I said, if you disappear one day, we're all going to know what it was, because they got the goods on me. Right. There's enough out there with you and me, we're gone too, Mike. But I'm like, but if you're going to be the first, because, so, yes. But anyway, so even getting back to Canada, like Mitch said, Trudeau is basically a dictator. And somebody had the name of that town. It was in Ontario, Ontario. Yeah. But that just shows you that's now a possibility, and those things now, the things that had to be coincidences before, might not be. It's feasible to say those aren't coincidences now, or aren't just random happenings,
Right.
So that's, and whether that figures into what Trump is doing or not, I don't know. I think it's more along the lines of that mentality, and the open border. And again, the open border is itself a political ideology at work. Trudeau probably doesn't have a problem with all these radical people coming into, this evil capitalist, great Satan. I don't know if he's gone that far or if it goes that far, but it's not that much different.
Yeah.
So it is a worldview at work, and that worldview uses any means necessary. There is no limits. What is that phrase? The ends justify the means.
Yeah.
On everything. Whereas our worldview, no, the means matter. So it's just, so I guess this technology, this beast we've invented, especially, and even the inventors of AI said it's going to destroy us someday. It is, but we're not going to pull the plug because it's so convenient and we're so efficient. Efficiency is another word that's going to kill us all. But I'm like, but you have to pull the plug now before it won't let you pull the plug. And maybe we can't pull the plug now. I don't know. Maybe we're too far down the line. So I don't know what to do, where you go from here, Mike, but
I'm on the opposite side of that argument.
Yeah.
I don't think technology will ever overrule, and I don't even think human control of technology will ever be a net negative. I'm not. I'm pure optimist in that God created us as creators, and that's part of how we're designed. Technology is obeying God's design, right? By innovating, and 99.999% of all technology is humans trying to make things better. And it has happened, right? Dentistry, right? And the ability to produce massive amounts of food and distribute it globally, right? Like that's all technology. That's all advancement. And I think God is in control, and he is at the helm and is doing incredible things that we're not aware of. And he's using technology to do it. So I don't think Skynet, right, from Terminator, it's fiction. And I don't think even an AI would ever, you can't ever think that it's in its own best interest to eliminate the human race. It would only be a human programming. And because we live in the wild, wild west now, with the advancements in AI, crypto, something called, that I mentioned earlier, graphene, right? These are revolutionizing technologies for the better. Like wealth is going to increase, and more people are going to get more wealthy faster with crypto technology. It's just going to happen. AI is going to make life way more efficient for a lot of people, so that new types of jobs will be easier to do. And graphene is going to actually it's going to transform pollution and construction. Graphene is a technology that's been discovered that actually, I just heard that the Trump administration is all in on graphene. It's a process that was discovered that you can take carbon-based biodegradable waste. You can take carbon-based waste. It's not biodegradable, like plastics, and put it through this process, and it becomes the most tensile strength material that you put it in concrete. Normally you would need 3 feet of concrete to get this strength. With graphene mixed in, you now only need 4 inches of concrete to get the same strength. So things are going to be more durable, lighter, faster, stronger, easier. There are technologies that are advancing, like Thomas Edison, right? He so transformed the world by himself that we're in a wild, wild west scenario right now where good people are going to be doing good things with these things. and bad people trying to do bad things. There, that's my
Okay.
take on the future.
You sound like the World's Fair in 1962.
Right?
What this? Yeah, or the Carousel of Progress at Disneyland. You could have narrated that. So, but yeah,
Thank you.
part one, because I'll have my
Yeah, let's
answer to
continue.
that next time for you.
All right.
guys.
Good.
So, but we're over time. So,
We're over time. Love you all. See you next
guys,
time.
love y'all.
See ya.
Take care. And I am ending the